Hey everybody, welcome to Drive Thru Review 421. Today we're going to take a look at Terra. Now this is a game that came out actually last year at Essen. It's designed by Friedman Freeze, who did Power Grid and Friday and some other games that you may have heard of. This is actually based on a system for a game called Fauna, which I haven't played, but from what I understand, the system is exactly the same or very, very close anyway. And it's sort of a trivia educational game, but don't run away from the video just yet. It's actually really fun. I'll just kind of spoil the review a little bit up front. Let's jump in and look at how it works. I would kind of describe it glibly as Wits and Wagers, the Euro game, but that doesn't really do it any justice. So let's take a look at how it works, and then I'll tell you what I think of it. So here we can see the box cover for Terra, and you can see the subtitle is The Party Game Where Being Close Counts. So even if you're not particularly into history or trivia or so on, you can still have a good time playing this game, I think. Now here we can see all the components. We've got a map of the world, and you can see sort of 3 tracks running along the bottom of the board. And we've got cubes for the different player colors, huge stacks of cards with different information and trivia. Each player will take 1 cube of their color and use that to mark their score on the score track. And then each player will have then 5 cubes that they can place and mark different locations and different parts of the track on the main board. Now the game comes with 150 double-sided cards, and these will have different locations and events and things that have happened, and so that gives you 300 total different items that you're going to be investigating and trying to figure out the answers for, and you're going to play through 6 of these cards each game, so that gives you 50 completely unique plays, which is great. Now you'll randomly choose the first player and hand them this little box here, shuffle up some cards, throw them inside, and you're going to notice a few things. So this is the Arrow C, and the first thing to notice is the little quadrant in the upper right hand corner. It's going to show you which sort of section of the board the arrow C, or whatever the item happens to be, probably belongs to. Now not every card has this little quadrant, but most of them do. And you can see this compass in the center of the board, and just relative to the position on the card, you're going to know generally where the item is. Now the other thing to notice here is you can see it says 2 areas, so there's 2 correct answers that players can mark. And then you're also going to notice year it began drying up, and that's in green, and then also decrease of water volume percentage. So when it began drying up, what the decrease in the percentage has been, and that's in red. And there's 3 tracks on the board to mark these. Now each card is only going to use 2 of these tracks, but you can see there's the year in green, length and distance, which isn't used on this card, and then also sort of an arbitrary number track, and that is used, and that's to decrease of water volume percentage. Now once everybody's had a chance to study this card, starting with the start player, you're going to place cubes out onto the various parts of the board. And now I haven't studied this card, I don't know this card, I'm not even going to look at this card and tell you what the answer is because I don't want to spoil anything. Now maybe the yellow player thinks it's the Horn of Africa where the arrow C is, so they'll go ahead and mark this. Then maybe red, they really know, let's pretend the red player actually knows, they're going to mark this Indian subcontinent. Now green thinks red knows where it is. Now red's already got the spot, so green's going to go ahead and place adjacent, because if you're adjacent to the right answer, you still get some points. And then white's pretty sure, since the other 2 players have gone, maybe white has no clue, they're going to place it there. Now when we reveal the answer, let's say the answer was in this case the Indian subcontinent, then red would get 7 points, and white and green, since they were adjacent, would each get 3 points. Now there's nothing stopping red from sort of doubling down and placing adjacent as well. So maybe they placed it here in the Indian Ocean. They'll get 7 points for the right answer, but then another 3 for a total of 10 for being adjacent as well. And a similar thing is going to happen on these tracks. So let's say yellow figured that it started to dry up somewhere around 1830. They'll go ahead and mark this, and then the other players can place adjacent as well. So let's say in this case yellow was correct, and they would get the 7 points. Anybody adjacent to them is going to get 3 points, and the same with the other track, and so on. And that is the entire game, actually. Now if you place your cube in a spot that's not adjacent to the right answer, you'll sort of discard that cube off to the side, but then at the end of each round you get 1 cube back from the discard from that supply. So if you're wrong a whole bunch, then you're going to lose a whole bunch, but you get 1 back. Now if you ever have less than 3 cubes, you sort of draw up to 3 cubes. So always have at least 3 cubes to play out. This game is awesome. We played this 3 times the other night, and then 2 times the night before that, and it's super fun, super quick. I don't know what the box says on it. What does it say? It says 45 minutes. You can definitely play this in about a half an hour. Plays 2 to 6 players, and I haven't played it with 2, but I think you would want to play it with, you know, more than 2, just so that you got some more minds at the table and more sort of interplay and banter. Just it's a party game, so I think you want that extra player count. But I really have enjoyed it, and we have different players with different sort of skill levels and knowledge. The other night when we played it, we had somebody that's a real history buff, and so we were kind of piggybacking off of him, and then there were some things that stumped him and stuff like that, so we even kind of joked about him actually bluffing and putting one somewhere else, and then we're all surrounding him, and then at the end, after everybody passes, he goes and sort of drops a bunch of cubes everywhere. Now you do have to put one cube out at least, and then you can pass, and once you pass, you're out. But it's really cool. It's sort of like sneakily educational, and there are different cards. Like one that came up for us was the HMS Beagle voyage by Charles Darwin. It had 18 areas, so there was a whole bunch of spots we could go for, and we had sort of the gist of the idea of where he traveled and all that stuff. And so that particular game was a high-scoring game because we had all of those extra points that were available. So the game is going to sort of change up, and like I said, it has 50 possible plays. Like if you played through each card one time, that's 50 plays. So, I mean, you'd have to sort of keep them in order to keep track, but that's a ton to get out of a game. And it's neat. It's really works well. And I think if you don't like trivia games, I would still give this one a shot. I'm definitely keeping this one in the collection. So, really cool game. I was very surprised how much we all have enjoyed it. So it's going to be a great kind of family game as well, because you're going to sort of like accidentally learn a lot of stuff. So anyway, I highly recommend this one a lot. So take a look. Thanks.